Coming up on this week's news, the alarm is raised over thousands of electricians who are unprepared for big tax changes next month. Wales makes solar panels compulsory on new buildings, and 2 firms are fined after a father of 3 is electrocuted in a cherry picker. Welcome to Electrical News Weekly, whether you're listening in the van, on site or down at the wholesale counter. I'm Joe Robinson and I've been through the best of the electrical industry news to save you the trouble. We're being lit by Flex 7 with their lightning fast pre-wired modular lighting connection system that keeps your installation times razor sharp. And if you think you've spotted the 2 words that I've been challenged to slip into this week's show, comment with them below for the chance to win this exclusive cap branded with friends of the show, Quickwire and Chump Tools. And while you're there, click the links in the show notes to check out what our sponsors offer. The alarm is being raised this week over the thousands of electricians who are said to be unprepared for major tax changes coming into effect next month. Experts are warning the trade that electricians earning over £50,000 a year, that's turnover, need to act now to comply with the government's Making Tax Digital scheme. The plan sees the scrapping of paper-based tax returns. Instead, installers must report their income and expenses 4 times a year using specialist software. For many, this will mean popular paid platforms, and if you'd like to know a bit more about this, we recently hosted one of the best providers of these apps on a special episode of eFIXX TV. I'll leave a link to that in the show notes. You'll also find there a link to the Xero website where you can currently sign up for 6 months completely free of charge. If you do opt for paid software, you can expense it along with your van, your travel and your tools. To be clear, these reports are not quarterly tax returns. They're just summaries of how your business is doing. You won't pay 4 tax bills a year, and the deadline for submitting a tax return and paying tax will remain at the 31st of January. Christine Nisbet, Finance Director at FBR Seed, says she speaks to tradespeople every week who still don't realise this change is coming or how close it is. Next year, those earning over £30,000 will also need to use the software, and in 2028 you'll have to comply even if you earn as little as £20,000. In addition to filing a report every quarter, you'll also have to produce a final end-of-year declaration. So if you're working to a calendar year or other period, you'll need to switch to tax year, which runs from the 5th of April annually. You'll also need to securely store copies of receipts, invoices and financial statements, both digitally and physically, in case of an inquiry from the HMRC, so no more eyeballing expenses anymore. VAT-registered firms have had to use the online platform since 2019. And if you're freaking out about the new tax rules, why not take one worry off your plate and use the brand new range of green eye motion sensors from Legrand's CP Electronics arm, designed with ease of install, commissioning and use in mind, along with 75% recycled packaging. They'll cut carbon, reduce costs and help you specify efficient, future-ready buildings. It's not just green eye, it'll help to make a green you. In other news, 2 companies have been fined after an employee was electrocuted when his cherry picker collided with an overhead power line. Willand O&M Limited and New Wave Marine Limited were sentenced to Exeter Crown Court following the incident in June 2020 at the Willand biogas site in Devon. 34-year-old Carl Parsons was electrocuted and colleague Luke Madavin was left with life-changing injuries. The pair were working in a cherry picker operated by New Wave Marine when it struck an overhead power line. The electrical current passed through the metal basket, fatally electrocuting Carl Parsons and causing a serious electric shock to Luke Madavin. A HSE investigation found that Willand O&M had been advised by their principal contractor and Western Power Distribution to relocate the overhead power line. Doing so would have eliminated the risk of contact during both the build and future maintenance. Willand O&M failed to act on this advice and put no adequate control measures in place. Supervision, monitoring and site induction were also found to be poor. New Wave Marine's risk assessment was found to be neither suitable nor sufficient. The company also lacked formal training and adequate supervision for the work being carried out. Willand O&M Limited of Willand, Colompton, Devon pleaded guilty to an offence under the Electricity at Work regulations and was fined £51,000 and ordered to pay prosecution costs of £28,000. New Wave Marine Limited pleaded guilty to offences under the Management of Health and Safety at Work regulations and was fined £30,000 with prosecution costs of £8,000. Thanks to friend of the show Sergio Fernandez for highlighting that story to us. In a major boost for the electrical trade, Wales has announced that it's making solar panels compulsory. The Principality has become the first of the UK nations to mandate photovoltaics on new projects in its building regulations. The new rules are set to take effect early next year. They come ahead of England's Future Home Standard, which is also expected to effectively mandate rooftop solar for new builds. Scotland and Northern Ireland are yet to follow suit. The Welsh regs don't explicitly set out the requirements for solar, but they do introduce a requirement for what they term a system for renewable electricity generation. The new rules will apply to new buildings that have not started construction when the regulations come into force. course, there is one exception to the rule. If it's not possible, for whatever reason, to install a system capable of generating at least 720 kilowatt hours per year, then the requirement won't apply. In People news, the NICEIC has unveiled its new chief. She's Claire Mowbray, who ran the Fire Service College and the National College for High Speed Rail. Mowbray says she's excited to get started in a £200,000 a year job. At that sort of payback, she might be interested in a top-of-the-range new EV charger. Chinese electric vehicle maker BYD has unveiled a revolutionary unit that can charge a car in the same time that it takes to fill a petrol tank. The flash charging unit can deliver 1,500 kilowatts through a single connector, according to the company. So you can charge a car from 10% to 70% in as little as 5 minutes. A 10% to 97% recharge can be completed in 9 minutes. In the UK, the fastest charging most drivers are likely to encounter is around 250 kilowatts, with 350 kilowatts at some sites. But there's one small problem. There are no cars on the market that can take advantage of that blistering speed. BYD says it's working on it. Its new Denza model will be able to accept flash charging, and it arrives in the UK later this year. But there's another small problem facing the world of ultra-fast chargers. Getting grid connections is becoming harder than finding a Gruffalo. Again, BYD has a plan. It hopes to pair the chargers with an ultra-fast discharge battery pack. We'll keep you posted on the rollout. In promo news, Sync Energy have launched a reward program. Anyone who installs 2 of the brand's acclaimed EV chargers are entitled to a bonus of a crisp £50. If you're registered on the Sync Energy app, you're automatically enrolled in the scheme. To be eligible, all installs must be fully commissioned, set up correctly in the app, and have the end user complete their first charge. You can choose your reward in 2 ways. A simple digital voucher that you can redeem at over 500 outlets, including Screwfix and John Lewis. Alternatively, if you do 20 installs and are due over £500, Sync will give you cashback with an invoice. To do this, you'll need to be set up as a supplier and VAT registered. The promotion runs until April. AJAX Systems has launched a promotion that's based on an ambitious survey of the fire industry. The security system manufacturer wants to explore the UK fire detection market and identify the company's competitive position. The survey takes just 4 minutes to complete. As a thank you for your time, the firm will randomly select 3 participants to receive an AJAX EN54 demo case and branded merch. 2 more entrants will get a limited edition AJAX merch gift box. The winners will be drawn live during the eFIXX TV show on Wednesday the 25th of March. I've put the link to the promo in the show notes. Now, have you ever asked yourself why installing a socket is such a palaver? You know, the lack of space, the cables that barely reach, and the terminal that you can't quite see? Well, a company called Sockets, appropriately, set out to ask a simple question. Why are we doing it this way? The key issue they identified is that the frustrating part of fitting a socket isn't the fitting, it's the wiring. So the designers at Sockets set about rethinking the socket from the inside out. In fact, they stripped the problem back to its core and came up with something different. A socket designed around an industry first, a 2-part connection. The terminal separates from the body of the fitting. This allows you to wire with lots of space and a clear view. The result is faster, safer, and smarter. The socket is also modular, upgradable, and replaceable by design. The company says its terminals are engineered to last 25 years, so you can reuse them across multiple styles and generations. Now, do you ever lose tools on a busy site, or spend ages working out what bits of equipment is in which van? Then you'll really appreciate an innovative and cost-effective system from Brady. It uses radio frequency RFID tags attached to your kit. These simple tags give you a real-time list of your gear and its location. You can, for instance, see instantly what's in a van and what's missing. You can also trigger alerts for incomplete inventories. It works like this. The passive battery-free labels bounce back radio signals from a portable RFID reader. You can detect stuff that's up to 15 meters away. The portable RFID readers can actually guide you towards a specific tool. When closing in, you get sound and visual feedback as you get closer to the kit. You can also use RFID labels with a built-in LED so that you can find anything in a mass of tools. I'll leave a link to that in the show notes. I think that's brilliant. Socket & See has unveiled a new multifunction tester. The MFT 5000 is an advanced 18th edition tester which incorporates all your vital functions. For loop testing, it's got high current 2-wire and low trip 3-wire modes for assessing line neutral and line earth loop impedances. For insulation testing, you can select 250 volts, 500 volts, or 1000 volts. There's comprehensive RCD testing with multiple selectable types, as well as automated 30 mA tests for an easy pass-fail assessment. The ramp test can help with diagnosing nuisance tripping by identifying RCD tripping levels. And a really unique feature is that you can display any picture you like on the startup screen, maybe your company logo. There's automatic phase rotation detection when connected to a 3-phase supply. As you'd expect, it's also got a socket testing function for quick wiring checks. These are just some of its many functions. I've put a link to the full list in the show notes. Now, How about this for a bright idea? It's the Paul Russell's Lamp of the Week, and today we're giving a shout out to a super retro design. This light source features a distinctive spiral LED filament inside a smoked glass globe. What's lovely about this one is that it's super warm at 1800 Kelvin. It has an equivalent output to a 25 watt at 250 lumens, but only draws 4 watts. It's got an ES base and has a lifetime of 15,000 hours. Now, it's that great moment where we get to celebrate the sterling work being done by the next generation. Our Learner of the Week slot is brought to you by XS Training with their online electrical courses for beginners and experienced sparks, covering inspection and testing, solar, battery storage, EV charging, and their specialism, NVQs and AM2 online prep. And our learner this week is Harry Souter, who's a level 2 learner at Herefordshire College. Tutor Dave Baker tells us that Harry is performing really well, both academically and in his practical work. He's got a really strong commitment to his studies and has been smashing his theory exams. Harry also works really well on his own initiative and maintains a positive attitude in sessions. He is super motivated to secure a position with a local employer and shows real ambition for his future in the trade. In short, Harry is the perfect candidate for this feature. We wish you well, Harry, and look forward to your contribution to the industry. Congratulations on being the eFIXX Learner of the Week in association with XS Training. Click the link in the show notes to view their wide range of courses. And now, to the lighter side of the electrical news. Yes, it's time for a tea break with Quickwire and its range of incredibly rapid electrical connectors. A Scottish electrician is being recognised for his prompt response to 2 medical emergencies. 28-year-old Kieran Doherty, who's in the electrical department at Midlothian Council, has been shortlisted for the Inspirational Colleague of the Year award. While attending a late evening call-out for a power fault, Kieran noticed the tenant he had been helping suddenly became unresponsive. Although shocked, he stayed calm and immediately called 999. With guidance from the call handler, he checked the woman's breathing and monitored her condition until the ambulance arrived. In an earlier incident, he was working in a family home when a teenage boy suffered a seizure. Kieran stepped in to help the boy's mother. He placed the teen in the recovery position, made sure he wasn't choking, cleared the area to keep him safe, and phoned an ambulance. Kieran says the first aid training during his apprenticeship really helped him. He says he's shocked and honoured to be put forward for the award. That's the lighter side of the news in our tea break with Quickwire and their range of incredibly rapid electrical connectors. Click the link in the description to check them out for yourself. Now, it's over to the John Motson of the electrical industry. It's Joe 2.0 with all the latest news from our Fantasy Football League.
Game week 30 is nearly complete, with just Wolves versus Brentford left to play tonight. Overall, it's been an absolutely shocking week for most managers. Big players were benched, others blanked, and throw in a few unexpected results across the Premier League, and you've got the perfect recipe for fantasy chaos. The average score this week was a measly 37 points, but as always, that opened the door for managers who went against the grain. Let's see who made it count. The Marshall Toughlex Team of the Week goes to Top Marks, managed by Mark Abley. Mark's team strolled to the top of the weekly standings thanks to some clever differential picks. 3 clean sheets at the back, combined with a big haul from Bruno Fernandes, pushed his total to a very impressive 70 points, almost double the game week average. And if there was any time to use a bench boost, it was this week. Well played, Mark. Next up, the Fusebox Flyer of the Week goes to Inter Row X, managed by Robert Davies. Robert put a lot of faith in Manchester United, and it paid off. A Kuna goal, combined with 2 assists from Bruno Fernandes, helped drive his team forward. When you add in 2 clean sheets at the back, Robert finished the week with 60 points, climbing 30 places up the league table. A solid all-round performance. Well played, Robert. Now for the EV Blocks Defence of the Week, which goes to Zola 25, managed by Anthony Bull. Anthony's defence absolutely delivered, thanks to double ups from Arsenal and Bournemouth, bringing in a very healthy 36 points from the back line alone. To put that into perspective, his defence scored more than my entire team this game week, which is slightly embarrassing, but brilliant work from Anthony. Finally, it's time for the TIS Transfer of the Week. The season is starting to get a little more complicated from here on out, with managers needing to navigate blank and double game weeks. In fact, next week, Man City, Arsenal, Crystal Palace and Wolves all have no fixture. With that in mind, my pick this week is someone whose schedule stays nice and steady, Bruno Fernandes. He's been performing brilliantly for a while now, and if Man United score, chances are Bruno has had a hand in it. Reliable, consistent, and very hard to ignore. That's the highlights from Game Week 30 in the eFIXX Fantasy League. Huge thanks to our brand partners for backing the fun every week, and don't forget to enter the draw for the NICEIC Tool of the Week. The link's in the description. Until next time, may your captains actually play, may your benches be stacked, and may Leeds continue to disappoint Rick.
Thanks for that, Joe. Now, just before we get to your favourite bit of the show where I reveal last week's challenge words and winners, we want to thank our premium partners. We couldn't make the news without you. First up, they're like having an Italian star striker in your Premiership team. It's Ludum Palazzoli, and the best thing to come out of Yorkshire since stainless steel, the home of EV Ultra and other groundbreaking and quality products, it's Doncaster Cables. Click the links in the show notes to find out more about these great brands. If you think you know the words that I've smuggled into this week's show, pop your guess into the comments. We'll take all the correct guesses and select one at random to be the winner of an eFIXX goodie bag prize. Answers submitted after about lunchtime on the Thursday after release will not be entered into the draw. Now let's reveal the winners of last week's challenge word competition. Last week's words were foxgloves and goofballs, and the person to come out of her electronic hat was Dennis M1DLG. Well done to you, Dennis. Make sure you click the Get Involved link in the show notes to claim your prize. This week we've been lit by Flex 7 with their lightning fast pre-wired modular lighting connection system that keeps your installation times razor sharp. Don't forget to click the links in the show notes to find out more. Thanks for listening to this episode of Electrical News Weekly. Make sure you subscribe to receive the next update. Thanks for listening, and until next time, have a great week. Stay safe out there, and remember, there's no such thing as a torque calibrated arm.